Story number 1. The Forgotten Laughter of Christmas Past. Reflecting on my past, now as a grandmother living in a sleepy suburban town, I am often drawn back to the year 2011, a time that forever changed my understanding of the unseen world. The story I am about to share, known as the Echoing Laughter, recounts a series of chilling events that unfolded at the department store where I worked as a night shift manager. The store, a fixture in the community for decades, had an old toy section that was discontinued years ago. It was in this forgotten corner of the store that the eerie occurrences began. Night workers, including myself, started hearing children's laughter echoing near this area, a sound both innocent and chilling, resonating through the empty aisles in the dead of night. Compelled to uncover the source of this laughter, I teamed up with a young security guard named Ethan, 28, and a recent hire, Mia, who was 25. Ethan, a rational, no-nonsense kind of guy, was skeptical at first, but even he couldn't deny the oddness of these sounds. One fateful night, as the laughter grew louder and more distinct, Ethan decided to investigate the old toy section. Armed with a flashlight and a growing sense of unease, he ventured into the dusty, long-abandoned aisles. What he found there would forever haunt us. Behind a row of decaying shelves, Ethan discovered old newspaper clippings detailing a tragic event that had occurred many years ago. On a Christmas Eve, a fire had engulfed part of the store, claiming the lives of several children who had been eagerly exploring the toy section. The laughter we had been hearing was eerily similar to the innocent joy described by witnesses of that fateful day. Following this chilling discovery, the laughter seemed to grow in intensity, as if acknowledging that its story had been unearthed. Mia, who had a keen interest in the paranormal, suggested that we conduct a vigil in the toy section to acknowledge the lost souls and perhaps offer them some peace. So, on the anniversary of the tragedy, we gathered in the old toy section, surrounded by the remnants of forgotten Christmases. As we sat in silence, the air turned cold, and the laughter echoed around us, filling the space with a bittersweet melody of what was and what could have been. That night, as we spoke softly to the unseen children, telling them they were remembered and loved, the laughter slowly faded away, leaving behind a peaceful stillness. The events of 2011 at the department store remain etched in my memory, a poignant reminder of the past's ability to echo through time and space. The echoing laughter of Christmas past, a haunting symphony of lost innocence and joy, serves as a solemn tribute to the unseen and the forgotten. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 2. The Sentinel's Secret. In the quiet of my later years, nestled in a suburban haven, I often find my thoughts wandering back to the year 2012, a time marked by strange and unexplainable events at the department store where I was employed. Among these, the vanishing toy soldier stands out as a particularly eerie memory, one that still sends a chill down my spine. The store, a long-standing fixture in the community, was renowned for its elaborate Christmas displays. That year, a life-sized toy soldier, resplendent in its red and gold uniform, was the centerpiece of our festive decorations. However, as the days of December passed, we began to notice something unsettling. Each morning, the toy soldier was found in a different position, as if it had moved on its own during the night. Driven by a mix of curiosity and unease, I, along with a young and fearless security guard named Tyler, who was in his late 20s, decided to investigate. Tyler was determined to unravel the mystery and began to monitor the toy soldiers through the store's security cameras. One night, as Tyler reviewed the footage, he witnessed a sight that defied logic. The toy soldier moved ever so slightly, its arm raising in a silent salute. This movement was subtle, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably real. The following day, Tyler's investigation led to a more unsettling discovery. Tucked away in a forgotten corner of the storage room, he found an old, faded photograph. It depicted the store's original owner standing beside the very same toy soldier, which, according to the date on the back of the photograph, was over 100 years old. As we delved deeper, we uncovered a tragic piece of the store's history. The toy soldier had been crafted in the likeness of the owner's son, a young soldier who had perished in war. The toy was a memorial, a father's tribute to a lost child. The mystery deepened as we approached Christmas Eve. I decided to join Tyler for the overnight watch. As midnight approached, the air around us grew cold, and a palpable sense of sorrow filled the room. The toy soldier began to move, its movements slow and deliberate, as if reenacting a long-forgotten march. Then, in a moment that remains etched in my memory, the toy soldier stopped, and a ghostly figure appeared beside it. The figure, a young soldier, stood in silent vigil, his expression one of profound sadness. As quickly as he appeared, he vanished, leaving the toy soldier in its new position. The events of 2012 never repeated themselves after that Christmas. The toy soldier remained still, a silent sentinel of a sorrowful past. But the memory of that night, of the ghostly soldier and the moving toy, lingered long after the festive season had faded. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 3. The Secrets of Silent Companions. As I sit in the comfort of my home in the suburbs, a reflective grandmother, my mind often wanders back to the mysterious events of 2013 at the department store where I worked. Among the various unusual occurrences, one stands out distinctly: the whispers among the dolls. That year, several employees, including myself, began noticing something peculiar in the doll aisle. Whispers, soft and unintelligible, seemed to emanate from the rows of dolls. Sometimes, late at night, the whispers would be accompanied by a haunting melody, like a lullaby sung in a long-forgotten language. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, a young security guard named Jacob, 29, and I decided to investigate. Jacob, who had a keen interest in the history of the store, uncovered an old diary in the warehouse. The diary belonged to the store's original owner and dated back to the early 1900s. As we pored over the diary, we uncovered a heart-wrenching story. The owner had a daughter who loved the store's dolls, treating them as her friends. Tragically, she fell ill and passed away at a young age. Her father, stricken with grief, wrote in the diary about his daughter's love for the dolls and his wish that they could sing to her once more. The more we read, the more the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together. The whispers and the singing seemed to be a manifestation of the love and sorrow imbued in the dolls, a residual echo of the young girl's presence. Our investigation reached its climax one quiet night. Jacob and I stayed back after hours, sitting in the doll aisle. As the clock struck midnight, the whispers grew louder, and the soft singing began. The air around us turned cold, and for a brief moment, we felt the presence of someone unseen, yet palpably close. In a fleeting whisper of air, it felt as though a child's hand briefly brushed against mine. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the aisle fell silent. The whispers and singing ceased, and a sense of peace settled over the dolls. After that night, the doll aisle was never the same. The air of mystery lingered, but the whispers were gone, leaving behind a bittersweet silence. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 4. Shadows in the Aisles. Sitting in my suburban home, now in the twilight years of life, I often find myself reminiscing about the past, especially the eerie events that unfolded at the department store where I worked in 2014. The story that still haunts my memories is known as the ghostly game of tag. During that year, staff members, including myself, began noticing strange occurrences in the toy section. Toys were often found scattered across the floor each morning, as if they had been played with in the dead of night. This peculiar activity was initially dismissed as the result of disorganized closing procedures, but the situation soon escalated to an unnerving level. Curious and unsettled, a young night guard named Michael, 27, and I decided to delve deeper. Michael, a man with a rational mind and a penchant for uncovering truths, discovered something startling while reviewing security footage. The toys seemed to move on their own, as if being tossed and turned by invisible hands. As we continued our investigation, Michael shared an eerie piece of history. Many years ago, a group of children on a Christmas tour of the warehouse had tragically died in an accident. This revelation cast a somber shadow over our findings, suggesting a connection between the past tragedy and the current disturbances. Determined to understand more, we spent a night in the toy section, armed with cameras and recorders. As the night deepened, a chilling scene unfolded before us. The toys began to move seemingly of their own accord, creating a game of tag in the silence of the store. The air grew cold, and faint giggles echoed through the aisles, sending shivers down our spines. In a moment that remains vivid in my memory, a ball rolled towards us from an empty aisle and stopped at our feet. As we looked up, we saw the fleeting shadows of children darting between the shelves, their laughter a ghostly whisper in the darkness. The phenomenon ceased as mysteriously as it had begun. The following warnings saw the toys undisturbed, the echoes of laughter gone. However, the memory of that night lingered with us, a haunting reminder of the joy and tragedy interwoven in the fabric of the store's history. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 5. Echoes on the tracks. As I sit in my suburban home, now a reflective grandmother, my thoughts often drift back to the year 2015. That year, at the department store where I worked, we experienced something extraordinary and unsettling, a phenomenon known as the mysterious lights of the model trains. Our store had a magnificent model train set display, a favorite among Christmas shoppers. However, that December, strange occurrences began to unfold. Unexplained lights and sounds started emanating from the train set late at night, long after the store had closed and the display was turned off. Intrigued and somewhat unnerved, a young security guard named Alex, 26, and I, the store manager at the time, embarked on a quest to unravel the mystery. Alex, with a natural curiosity for the unexplained, was particularly driven to find answers. One quiet night, while investigating the display, Alex discovered an old, dust-covered train set controller hidden away in a storage room. The controller was old and unlike any used in recent years. As he brought it out, the train set inexplicably sprang to life, its lights flickering in a haunting, erratic pattern. Our investigation took a deeper turn when Alex uncovered a story from the store's past. Many years ago, during a Christmas event, a tragic accident involving the train set had occurred, leading to the untimely death of a child who was fascinated by the display. Armed with this knowledge, we decided to observe the train set after hours, hoping to witness the phenomenon ourselves. As we sat in the darkened store, the eerie glow of the train set illuminated our surroundings. The sounds of the trains chugging along the tracks filled the air, accompanied by a distant laughter and the faint sound of festive music, as if echoing from the past. In a moment that still chills me to the bone, the train set began to operate as if controlled by an unseen hand, the lights flickering in a pattern that seemed almost like a message from beyond. The air grew cold, and we felt the presence of something inexplicable, a connection to the tragic event long ago. After that night, the mysterious occurrences ceased. The old controller was placed in the store's archive, a relic of a bygone era and a poignant reminder of the past that lingered within the store's walls. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 6. Strings of the Forgotten. In the serenity of my home, As a grandmother now, I often recount tales of the past, particularly those that still send a shiver down my spine. The year 2016 stands out, marked by a series of eerie occurrences at the department store where I worked, involving what we came to call the Phantom Puppeteer. In the store's storage area, there was a collection of old puppets, remnants of a time when such toys were a favorite among children. As the holiday season approached, some of us began noticing peculiar movements among these puppets. They seemed to move on their own, their lifeless eyes gazing into the void, their limbs positioning into unnerving gestures. Intrigued and somewhat apprehensive, a night shift guard named Luke, a young man of about 28, and I began to explore this mystery. Luke, who had a fascination with the store's history, discovered an old, locked trunk hidden beneath stacks of unused holiday decorations. One night, armed with curiosity and a sense of foreboding, we opened the trunk. Inside, we found old puppeteers' tools, scripts for Christmas shows, and, most chillingly, a diary belonging to the store's original puppeteer. As I read the diary by the dim light of our flashlights, a forgotten tale unfolded. Many years ago, during a Christmas show in the store, a tragic accident had occurred. The puppeteer, known for his mesmerizing performances, had suffered a fatal heart attack mid-show, leaving the audience in shock and the puppets suspended in a ghastly tableau. The story took an even darker turn as we continued to read. The puppeteer had written of his deep loneliness and his belief that his puppets were his only true companions, capable of understanding his sorrows. After uncovering this tragic tale, the disturbances intensified. The puppets began to move with more purpose, as if reenacting scenes from past Christmas shows. On one particularly haunting night, Luke and I witnessed the puppets performing a silent, eerie pantomime, their movements synchronized and deliberate. In a moment that remains vivid in my memory, the puppets suddenly stopped, their lifeless eyes seemingly fixated on us, as if acknowledging our presence. The air grew cold, and a sense of profound sadness enveloped us. Following that night, the puppet performances ceased, and the storage area returned to its usual, still state. We left the trunk and its contents untouched, a silent memorial to the puppeteer and his lost dreams. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 7. The Midnight Rider. Now, as I spend my days in the calm of my suburban home, the role of a grandmother has given me plenty of time to reflect on the past. One such reflection that often returns to me is the eerie occurrences of 2017 at the department store where I worked, particularly the mystery of the rocking horse that rocks alone. In the store, there was an antique rocking horse, beautifully crafted and a favorite among the Christmas displays. However, that year, staff began noticing something unusual. Every midnight, the horse would start rocking by itself, with no apparent cause. The gentle creaking of its movements in the silent, empty store sent shivers down the spines of those who witnessed it. Intrigued and unsettled, a young security guard named Ethan, 25, and I embarked on an investigation. Ethan, who had an interest in the history of the store and its contents, discovered a fascinating and somewhat melancholic backstory to the rocking horse. Ethan found that the rocking horse had been made by a former toy maker who had worked at the store many years ago. This toy maker was known for his love of Christmas and had crafted the horse with great care and affection. Tragically, the toy maker had passed away suddenly, just before Christmas, leaving his final creation, the rocking horse, behind. As the days of December counted down, the phenomenon of the rocking horse grew more pronounced. Ethan and I decided to spend a night in the store, hoping to witness and perhaps understand the mysterious occurrence. As midnight approached, the store grew eerily quiet. Then, right on cue, the rocking horse began to move. Its rocking was rhythmic and steady, as if an invisible rider were upon it. In the dim light of the store, it seemed almost as though the spirit of the toy maker was there, gently rocking the horse in a nostalgic remembrance of Christmases past. In a particularly chilling moment, the horse stopped rocking, and in the silence that followed, we heard a faint, joyous laughter echoing through the store. It was a sound that seemed to embody the love and joy the toy maker had for Christmas and his craft. After that night, the rocking horse never moved again of its own accord. Ethan and I often reflected on that experience, feeling that perhaps the toy maker's spirit had found some form of peace or closure. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 8. The Watchful Eyes of the Past. Nestled in my suburban home, with the tranquility of retirement, I often find myself reminiscing about the peculiar events of 2018 at the department store where I worked. Among the various unusual happenings, the teddy bear that watches remains the most unnerving, a tale that I recall with a mix of fascination and dread. That year, a strange feeling began to permeate the teddy bear section of the store. Employees, including myself, reported an eerie sensation of being watched, particularly near an old display of teddy bears. This unnerving feeling intensified as Christmas approached, casting a shadow over the festive cheer. Compelled to uncover the truth, a young and brave security guard named Amelia, 26, joined me in investigating this mystery. Amelia's curiosity had led her to explore the storeroom, where she discovered an antique teddy bear hidden away in a forgotten corner. This bear was unlike any other in the store. Its glass eyes seemed to hold a depth that was almost lifelike. Delving into the store's archives, we uncovered a connection between the bear and the warehouse's original Christmas opening, decades ago. The bear had been a centerpiece of the inaugural Christmas display, but had been removed after reports of strange occurrences similar to what we were experiencing. As we delved deeper into the history, we learned about the creator of the bear, a skilled but reclusive craftsman who had poured his heart and soul into making it. It was said that he believed his creations held a piece of his spirit, a belief that seemed to resonate with the eerie occurrences surrounding the antique bear. Determined to experience this phenomenon firsthand, Amelia and I decided to spend a night in the teddy bear section. As the clock struck midnight, the temperature around us dropped inexplicably. The antique bear's eyes seemed to glow subtly in the dim light, and we felt an unmistakable presence around us. In a moment that still haunts me, the teddy bears around us began to shift slightly, as if reacting to an unseen touch. A soft whisper filled the air, a whisper that seemed to echo from the past, filled with an unspoken longing and sadness. After that night, the feeling of being watched gradually faded. Amelia and I decided to place the antique bear in a glass case with a plaque detailing its history, turning it into an attraction rather than a source of fear. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 9. The Echoes of Forgotten Yuletides. In the calm of my later years, residing in a quaint suburb, I often revisit past memories, especially those filled with unexplainable mysteries. The year 2019 at the department store where I worked was marked by an enigma known as the Jingle Bells Mystery. That holiday season, a peculiar phenomenon began to occur. In a section of the store where no Christmas decorations were displayed, the distinct sound of jingling bells was frequently heard. This occurrence baffled and unnerved both customers and staff, as there were no bells in or near that area. Driven by a mix of curiosity and a sense of duty, a diligent young security guard named Ryan, 29, decided to investigate. Ryan's exploration led him to discover a hidden compartment behind a false wall in the store. Inside, he found an old, dusty box containing a set of antique Christmas bells and a mysterious, yellowed note. The note, written in elegant, faded handwriting, detailed a touching story from many decades ago. It spoke of a tradition where these bells were rung each Christmas Eve by the store's founder to spread cheer and remember lost loved ones. However, this tradition had been forgotten over the years, and the bells had been lost to time. Intrigued by this discovery, Ryan and I planned to stay late one evening to delve deeper into the mystery. As midnight approached, the jingling of the bells began, this time louder and clearer, as if resonating directly from the hidden compartment. In a moment that seemed suspended in time, we opened the compartment and rang the bells ourselves. The sound filled the store, creating an atmosphere of nostalgia and melancholy. It felt as though the store itself was remembering its past, echoing the joy and sorrows of yesteryears. As the bell's chimes faded, a sense of peace settled over the store. We felt as if we had reconnected the store with a vital part of its history, reviving a tradition that had been lost in the passage of time. After that night, the mysterious jingling ceased. Ryan and I arranged for the antique bells to be displayed permanently in the store, accompanied by the story of their origin. The mystery of the jingling bells had been solved, leaving us with a deeper connection to the store's history and a renewed spirit of the holiday season. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 10. Whispers of Christmas Past. Now, as I embrace the peaceful life of a retiree in a suburban neighborhood, I find myself often reflecting on the past, especially on the events of 2020 at the department store where I worked, events shrouded in both mystery and a touch of warmth. The story that remains vivid in my mind is known as the Secret Santa of the Warehouse. That holiday season, something unusual began to happen at the store. Mysterious gifts started appearing for the workers, each wrapped in festive paper and containing an old-fashioned toy inside. The gifts brought a sense of cheer, but also curiosity and unease due to their unknown origin. A young and observant security guard named Emily, 27, intrigued by this anomaly, embarked on a mission to uncover the truth. Her investigation led her to discover the heartwarming story of a former worker, a kind-hearted man named George, who had played Santa for the store every Christmas. George was beloved by all for his generosity and spirit, but had mysteriously vanished one year, never to be seen again. As Emily delved deeper into George's story, she learned about his dedication to spreading joy, particularly to those who felt alone during the holidays. He had a tradition of secretly giving handmade toys to his co-workers, a gesture that made him an unsung hero of the store. Determined to honor George's legacy, Emily and I decided to stay late one Christmas Eve, hoping to unravel the mystery of the gifts. As the clock struck midnight, we heard the faint sound of a bell, followed by the rustling of paper in the distance. Following the sounds, we discovered a hidden nook in the warehouse, where George had crafted his toys. There, surrounded by his unfinished projects, was a final gift, accompanied by a note written in George's handwriting. The note expressed his wish for the tradition of giving to continue, even in his absence. The experience was both eerie and heartwarming, leaving us with a sense of connection to George's kind spirit. The mysterious gifts never appeared again after that night, but George's story lived on, inspiring us to continue his tradition of secret gift-giving. The Secret Santa of the Warehouse became a legend in the store, a blend of holiday magic and the enduring power of kindness. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life? Story number 11. Shadows of a Silent Stage. As I sit in my cozy suburban home, now a world away from my bustling days at the department store, I often find my mind wandering back to the enigmatic events of 2021. Among these, the story of the puppet show that plays itself stands out as a haunting blend of sorrow and the unexplained. In the store, there was a charming puppet theater, long unused, gathering dust in a forgotten corner. However, that year, staff members, including myself, began noticing something both fascinating and unsettling. Every morning, the puppets were found in new positions, as if they had come to life and performed a show during the night. Curiosity piqued. A young security guard named Lucas, 23, and I embarked on an investigation. Lucas, who had a passion for uncovering forgotten stories, discovered an old journal in the store's archives. It belonged to the puppeteer who had once brought joy and laughter to countless children with his Christmas performances. As we read through the yellowed pages of the journal, we uncovered a poignant tale. The puppeteer had been planning a special Christmas performance, one that he believed would be his masterpiece. Tragically, he passed away unexpectedly just days before the show could take place. Intrigued and moved by this discovery, Lucas and I decided to spend a night near the puppet theater, hoping to witness the mysterious phenomenon ourselves. As the clock struck midnight, a chill ran through the air. The puppets began to move, their wooden limbs jerking in a macabre mimicry of life. In the silence of the store, the puppets enacted scenes from the puppeteer's final, unrealized show. The performance was both mesmerizing and eerie, a spectral echo of a dream left unfulfilled. As the puppets danced and gestured, it felt as though the puppeteer's spirit lingered, imbuing them with a ghostly semblance of life. The climax of this ethereal performance came when the puppets froze mid-scene, their painted eyes seemingly staring into our souls. In that moment, Lucas and I felt an overwhelming sense of melancholy, as if the puppets were conveying the puppeteer's final farewell. After that night, the puppets never moved again on their own. Lucas and I decided to restore the puppet theater and display the puppeteer's journal alongside it, honoring his memory and his undying passion for his art. Write in the comments below the video what you think about this story. Were there similar situations in your life?